For decades, I believed weak legs were just a normal part of getting older. But years of research and clinical experience have taught me otherwise. The real cause may be lurking in your daily vitamin routine, and it might be making your legs weaker, not stronger. I still remember the day when Mrs. Elaine Morrison walked into my clinic. She was 74, neatly dressed, lively eyes, but a subtle limp that caught my attention right away. "Doctor," she said, her voice both tired and puzzled. "I take all the right supplements. I eat clean, but my legs feel like they're giving out. It's like they're working against me." Now, I've seen many versions of Elaine over the last 35 years, men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, strong-willed folks who've done everything they were told was healthy, only to find themselves dragging their feet, wincing with every step, wondering where their strength had gone. And more often than not, I'd open their medicine cabinet, or worse, their kitchen drawer stuffed with colorful supplement bottles, and I'd find the same culprits. Not painkillers, not sedatives, but vitamins. Yes, vitamins. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to demonize all vitamins. The body needs them, but here's what no one's telling our seniors. Some of the most popular, healthy, vitamins can actually weaken your legs over time, if you're not careful. Let's start with vitamin A on the surface. It sounds like a hero. It supports your vision, your immune system, your skin, but here's the thing they don't tell you on the bottle. Vitamin A is fat-soluble. That means, unlike vitamin C which you pee out if you take too much, vitamin A sticks around in your body, gets stored in your liver and fat tissue. Over time, it can build up, and when that happens, the damage creeps in slowly, and usually, it starts with the legs. Too much vitamin A can interfere with your calcium and magnesium levels. These are minerals your muscles need for proper contraction. Without them, your legs might feel crampy, stiff, even shaky. You might mistake it for just getting old. But really, your muscles are starving, not for more vitamins, but for balance. Elaine was taking two different supplements that both had high levels of vitamin A. One was labeled, for eye health. The other, Women's 50+ multivitamin. When we did the math, she was getting more than double the recommended daily amount. No wonder her legs were aching. I asked her, "Why are you taking both?" She shrugged. "I read they're good for aging. I didn't want to risk losing my eyesight or energy." And that's exactly how this happens. Fear, confusion, and too much faith in a label that says, healthy. But Elaine wasn't alone. A gentleman named Walter came to me a few months earlier. Tall, former high school football coach, 78 years young. He said, "Doc, I walk my dog every morning. But lately, I feel like my knees just won't lift like they used to. No pain, just weakness." He was taking a supplement for immune strength, with 10.000 IU of vitamin A every single day. To put that in perspective, the recommended daily allowance, RDA, for vitamin A for seniors is around 900 mcg for men, 3.000 IU, and 700 mcg for women, 2.300 IU. But some supplements give you up to 25.000 IU per pill. That's 10 times more than your body actually needs, and your body has no choice but to store it. Stored toxicity from vitamin A often shows up in subtle but devastating ways. Muscle pain, especially in the legs and lower back, bone thinning and fractures, headaches and dizziness, fatigue that feels like you're walking through mud. But the most insidious part? No one suspects the vitamin. We blame the weather, arthritis, or just age itself. That's why so many seniors continue taking it for months, even years, before anyone connects the dots. Now let's talk about vitamin E, another supplement hero turned silent saboteur when taken in excess. Vitamin E is an antioxidant, meaning it fights off harmful molecules called free radicals. It supports the immune system, helps maintain skin, and even assists with circulation. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the twist. Too much of it can impair your motor control, slow down your muscle recovery, and even mess with your balance. Back in med school, we learned that the upper limit for safe intake of vitamin E, as a supplement, is about 1.000 milligrams, 1.500 IU, per day. But for the average senior, the RDA is just 15 milligrams, about 22 IU. That's it. Yet, Walk into any pharmacy and you'll find bottles boasting 400 IU per capsule. Some people take 1 or 2 daily, thinking more must be better. I had a patient, Mr. Leo, who loved his vitamin E. "It helps me stay young," he said, but he also told me he kept tripping over curbs and felt clumsy on stairs. His legs weren't weak per se, but his coordination was off. When we scaled back his supplement, within weeks he reported fewer stumbles. Vitamin E overload may also interfere with vitamin K, which is essential for blood clotting. Seniors on blood thinners, take note. Too much vitamin E can make small cuts bleed longer or cause unexpected bruising, even in the legs and shins. That's not just annoying, it's dangerous. What worries me most is that both vitamin A and E hide in multivitamins. Energy drinks, eye support tablets, immune boosters, and skincare complexes, they don't always tell you they're adding them in high amounts. And unless you're checking every single label, you may be stacking your dose without even realizing it. I once treated a retired nurse, yes, a nurse, who was suffering from what she called mystery leg fatigue. She was eating well, exercising daily, and taking only a few vitamins. Turns out she was unknowingly doubling up on E and A through 2 multivitamins plus a separate joint supplement. Her total daily intake? More than 10.000 IU of vitamin A and over 600 IU of vitamin E. That's enough to unbalance her neuromuscular system and zap her strength without warning. You might be wondering, if vitamins can do this much harm, should we stop taking them altogether? Absolutely not, but we must be wiser about how we take them. The truth is, your body was never designed to process isolated, synthetic mega doses. It evolved to get nutrients from food, real food. When you get your vitamin A from carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, or your vitamin E from almonds, sunflower seeds, and avocados, you also get fiber, enzymes, cofactors, and dozens of subtle compounds that help your body absorb and use these vitamins properly. But when you take a concentrated pill, especially day after day, without guidance, it's like pouring high-octane fuel into an old engine. It might work at first, but over time, it gums up the system. So what should you do if you're over 60 and concerned about your leg strength? Step 1. Check your supplement labels. Look for vitamin A amounts in IU or mcg. Avoid anything with more than 100% of your daily value unless a doctor tells you otherwise. For vitamin E, look for no more than 100 to 200 IU unless prescribed. And most importantly, avoid taking multiple supplements with overlapping ingredients. Step 2. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Bring all your supplements in a bag, yes, even the half-empty bottles, and review them together. Step 3. Return to food-based nutrition. Nature doesn't overdose you. A baked sweet potato won't hurt your liver. A handful of almonds won't slow your reflexes. But a plastic bottle with Daily Mega Boost just might. Elaine? She went home, cleaned out her cabinet, and started eating fresh again. Smoothies with spinach and mango. Roasted root veggies. A few Brazil nuts for selenium. Within 6 weeks, her limp eased. Her energy returned. Her legs, as she said, felt lighter. And the best part? She felt in control again. Because that's what this is really about. Isn't it? Control. Dignity. Independence. Being able to rise from a chair without wobbling. Walk to the mailbox without fear. Chase your grandkids without hesitating. That's not too much to ask. But it requires truth, and a willingness to rethink what we've been told. So next time you hold a bottle of vitamins in your hand, ask yourself, is this helping me, or is it quietly making me weaker? That question could change the strength in your legs, and the quality of your life, for years to come. Let me tell you something most folks never think about until it's too late. Some of the foods we eat every day, the ones we grew up trusting, might quietly be robbing us of our strength, especially in our legs. Now, I don't say this to scare you, but to wake you up. Because I've seen it time and time again in my decades of clinical work. Strong, capable seniors suddenly struggle to get out of a chair or walk up a short flight of stairs. And they all ask the same question: what happened to my legs? You might be surprised to hear that the answer isn't always age or genetics. Sometimes, it's the food. Yep, plain old food. Foods that are so common. They're sitting in nearly every pantry across America. Let's start with refined grains. White bread, boxed cereals, instant rice, Pancakes. Bagels. They spike your blood sugar faster than a firecracker on the 4th of July. That sugar surge triggers a flood of insulin, which leads to inflammation. And where does that inflammation go? Joints, muscles, and nerves. Your legs? First in line to suffer. I once treated a retired mailman named Earl, big guy. Always on his feet. Walked his route for over 30 years. But just 2 years after retiring, he was shuffling like a man twice his age. Turned out Earl had developed chronic inflammation from eating a steady breakfast of healthy, brand cereal with skim milk and toast, thinking he was doing right by his heart. But it drained the magnesium and B vitamins his muscles needed, and the daily sugar load was quietly damaging his circulation. Then there's processed meats, ham, bacon, hot dogs, deli turkey. They're loaded with nitrates and sodium. Too much sodium messes with your potassium balance, leading to cramping, stiffness, and even nerve issues in your legs. My patient Maria, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio, had terrible night cramps. Her legs would seize up in the middle of the night, sometimes so bad her husband had to massage them until she could move again. Turned out she was eating ham sandwiches almost daily, quick, easy, familiar. But after we cut those out and brought in more potassium-rich foods like sweet potatoes and spinach, she started sleeping like a baby again. Another silent culprit? Vegetable oils, yes, the same ones that claim to be heart-healthy. Corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil. These highly processed oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in excess trigger inflammation. And again, your legs feel the brunt of it. Inflammation in the small capillaries of the legs can limit blood flow and oxygen delivery. One of my neighbors, Joe, an 80-year-old Korean War veteran, came to me complaining that his legs felt like they were wrapped in lead. He wasn't diabetic, didn't have any clear circulation issues, until I looked at his diet. Every dinner he cooked included fried chicken, deep fried in vegetable oil. We switched him to olive oil and baked versions of his favorites. Within weeks, he reported more energy in his legs and less pain after walking. Then there are sugary drinks, sodas, sweetened iced teas, even those so-called fruit juices. These are like pouring syrup into your veins. They increase insulin resistance, contribute to muscle fatigue, and worsen neuropathy in the legs. And don't get me started on diet sodas. That artificial sweetener? It messes with your gut and nervous system. One woman, Janet, a 68-year-old former schoolteacher, came in with complaints of tingling feet and weak knees. After months of testing, we discovered her nerves were inflamed, not from any injury, but from her habit of drinking 4 cans of diet soda a day. When she cut it out, and we nourished her body with real hydration, like lemon water and coconut water, her symptoms dramatically improved. Frozen meals are another trap. Convenient, sure, but loaded with sodium and preservatives. These can dehydrate your muscles and make them sluggish. And they're often missing the minerals and healthy fats your legs need to stay strong. I had a widowed gentleman, Charles, who relied on TV dinners every night because he didn't feel like cooking for one. He noticed his legs getting weaker and blamed old age. But after just 1 month of switching to simple, home-cooked meals with fresh veggies and lean proteins, he told me, "Doc, I actually walked around the whole park without sitting down once." Imagine that. Even milk, depending on how it's processed, can play a role. Pasteurized, homogenized milk can cause sensitivities in older adults, leading to inflammation and joint stiffness. Not everyone is lactose intolerant, but many are lactose sensitive without realizing it. And that low-fat milk craze? It stripped away the healthy fats and left you with a sugary drink in disguise. Better options? Unsweetened almond milk, kefir, or even full-fat yogurt in moderation. These nourish your gut, support your nerves, and don't flood your system with sugar. Lastly, let's talk about fried foods. French fries, donuts, fried fish. They may bring back memories, but they're poison to aging muscles. The trans fats in many of these foods damage the mitochondria, those tiny energy factories in your muscle cells. And when your mitochondria slow down, so do you. I had a retired firefighter named Ben tell me, "I used to be a machine. Now I can barely carry my groceries." Turns out his diet included fried food 3 to 4 times a week. Once we changed that, and added foods like avocado, nuts, and berries, he came back a month later smiling. I feel like someone turned the lights back on in my legs. You see, every bite either builds you up or breaks you down. It's not about being perfect or giving up everything you love. It's about knowing which foods are helping you and which ones are quietly draining your strength. You deserve legs that carry you without pain, without weakness, without hesitation. That freedom starts in your kitchen, on your plate, with the choices you make each day. And if you've been feeling like your legs aren't what they used to be, don't blame it all on age just yet. Look at what you're feeding them. Because the truth is, your legs are only as strong as what you put into them. And believe me, they're worth the best. Let me share a secret with you: reviving tired, wobbly legs doesn't require fancy machines, expensive pills, or some miracle cure they're advertising on late-night TV. Sometimes, all it takes are a few simple shifts, honest, down-to-earth changes that breathe life back into your legs. One step at a time. I've seen it with my own eyes. Dozens of times over the years. Seniors who thought their walking days were behind them began moving with more ease than they had in years, without surgeries or prescriptions, just by making a few smart decisions every day. Now I know what you might be thinking: Doc, I'm too old for this. But let me tell you, age has nothing to do with it. Muscles respond at any age when given the right fuel, the right movement, and the right care. Take hydration, for example. Sounds too simple, doesn't it? But I've had patients come in complaining of fatigue, leg cramps, poor balance, and after some digging, it turned out they were only drinking 1 or 2 glasses of water a day. The rest was coffee, tea, soda. I had one patient, Harold, 76 years old, who told me he hadn't drunk plain water in years because he just didn't like the taste. Once we got him on a routine of sipping lemon water throughout the day and adding a pinch of sea salt to help absorption, his energy returned, and those cramps that had been waking him up every night, gone within 2 weeks. Then there's magnesium. I call it the forgotten mineral of muscle health. It helps with nerve function, muscle relaxation, and even sleep, yet it's missing in most modern diets. Leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, and black beans are excellent sources. I had a lovely lady named Darlene, 80 years old, who suffered from restless legs. She'd tried medications, creams, you name it, but once we got her eating a spinach and pumpkin seed salad 3 times a week, and soaking her feet in Epsom salt baths at night, she called me and said, "Doctor, I finally slept through the night for the first time in 6 months." It's those kinds of stories that keep me going. Movement is another pillar: gentle, steady, daily movement. I'm not talking about running marathons. I mean simple walking, chair yoga, or using resistance bands. Muscles thrive when used. They weaken when we sit all day, which unfortunately, many of us do after retirement. I remember Mr. Franklin, a former bus driver who developed knee stiffness so bad he was using a walker. When I asked what his days looked like, he admitted he spent nearly 10 hours a day sitting, watching TV, reading, dozing off. So, we started small. 5 minutes of walking after every meal, and leg raises while sitting. Just a few weeks in, he surprised me with a story: "Doc, I walked to the end of my driveway and back without my cane. First time in 2 years." That's the power of consistency, even in tiny doses. Now, let's talk protein. As we age, our protein needs actually go up, not down. Muscles break down faster and need more raw material to stay strong. But many seniors cut back on meat or dairy out of fear, or simply because chewing becomes difficult. Eggs, Greek yogurt, soft-cooked lentils, and even protein smoothies can change the game. My patient Eleanor, 82, was eating cereal for breakfast and toast for dinner. Easy, yes, but nearly no protein. We added a soft scrambled egg in the morning and a scoop of whey protein blended into almond milk in the afternoon. The change in her gait and posture was noticeable in just a month. "I feel like I'm not dragging my legs anymore," she said with a grin. And don't underestimate the role of circulation. Good blood flow delivers oxygen and nutrients to those muscles. That's why I often recommend circulation-boosting foods like beets, dark chocolate, and cayenne pepper in moderation. One gentleman named Roy had cold feet and weak legs. After including a small serving of beet juice daily and a square of dark chocolate with his lunch, his walking endurance improved noticeably. "I can keep up with my wife at the grocery store again," he joked. Now, inflammation is another enemy of leg strength. And the best way to fight it isn't in a pharmacy, It's in your spice cabinet. Turmeric, ginger, garlic, these are time-tested warriors. I had a Korean woman, 74, who swore by her homemade ginger tea every night. She rarely had leg pain, despite her arthritis, and when I encouraged a few of my more skeptical patients to try it for a month, they too began reporting less swelling and less tightness in their calves. It's amazing how ancient traditions still hold truth in modern science. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention posture and footwear. Wearing worn-out shoes or sitting with your knees locked at odd angles for hours affects leg strength and circulation. Get shoes with good arch support, especially if you're dealing with neuropathy or plantar fasciitis. And check your posture. Your legs bear the weight of your entire body. And alignment matters. One patient, Martha, was hunched over due to years of poor posture, which led to hip and knee pain. But after a month of daily back stretches and using a lumbar cushion while sitting, she was standing taller and walking with more balance. Lastly, I want to stress the emotional side. Fear of falling or injury often leads seniors to become overly cautious. But the less you move, the weaker you get, and that fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You've got to break that cycle. Build confidence with small wins. Stand up every hour. March in place during commercials. Celebrate every time you take the stairs instead of the elevator. Little victories become habits, and habits build strength. I'll never forget my patient Judy, who told me, "I stopped going to church because I was afraid I'd fall." But after months of strength-building routines and encouragement, she went back, not only walking in confidently but helping others find their seats. That's what these shifts can do. They're not just about muscles, they're about reclaiming your life. So remember, your legs may feel weak today, but they're not beyond saving. They've carried you through a lifetime, raising kids, working hard, dancing at weddings, climbing mountains, real or metaphorical. Don't give up on them now. Give them the water, nutrients, movement, and care they deserve. And before long, you might just find yourself walking a little taller, standing a little stronger, and stepping into each day with newfound freedom. That's the power of small, smart changes, and I believe every senior deserves to feel that again. And there you have it, my friends. If there's one thing I've learned over decades of working with seniors, it's this: small, thoughtful choices can bring about the biggest changes, especially when it comes to your legs, your strength, and your independence. I've seen folks in their 70s, 80s, even 90s turn things around, not with magic pills or gimmicks, but with good food, smarter habits, and a bit of belief in themselves. In my opinion, we don't give our bodies, or our elders, enough credit. Aging doesn't mean fading away. It means adjusting, listening, and thriving in new ways. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of the foods or tips we talked about today? What's worked for your legs, or what hasn't? Leave me a comment below. Your stories matter, not just to me, but to everyone watching. This community is built on shared wisdom, and we can all learn from one another. And hey, if you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell too. That way, you won't miss the next story, tip, or breakthrough that could help you or someone you love stay strong, mobile, and full of life. Thanks for spending your time with me today. I'm honored to walk this path with you. Until next time, take care of your legs, take care of your heart, and most of all, take care of yourself.